You are watching Mentor English Professor MA-Raza. We have lot of other electronic channels for the betterment of society. For example, Palia TV1, Mentor English, Mentor Urdu, Mentor Turkish, Mentor uh, Arabic, and Jamia Darul Sheikhul Islam. So must subscribe and hit the bell icon to all. Thanks, my online family. I love you all. Welcome back from Mentor English. Myself, motivational speaker, leadership business coach, master trainer, language trainer, novelist, Professor M.A. Today, the topic is techniques, methods, and in language teaching. So let's get started. Introduction. This lecture is to introduce three basic concepts related with teaching of English language at different levels. They are approach, method, and technique. The basic ideology working behind the procedure of teaching language to the learners of English language is known as approach or theory, like that of natural approach of teaching language in natural sequence. For example, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The approach determines the procedure or ways of teaching, which is known as a method. This can be understood in this way, that if a teacher believes in natural approach, he or she will close a direct method of teaching language to the learners. When approach and relevant method is there, it surely follows by various types of conductions of classroom activities or technique. A handful of techniques like dialogue practice in direct method enables a teacher to instill a productive combination of language use and usage among the learners. So this unit is covering theoretical and practical aspects of the language teaching for effective techniques learning performance. Objectives. By the end of this unit and this lecture, the students will be able to distinguish between approach and method, give an elaborate understand of the term technique, and enable the teacher and learner to get the understanding of these terms in the teaching learning procedure. Approaches usually refers to set of ideas, beliefs, and principles that help the teachers to decide what should be taught, why should be taught, and how it should be resented. Where what refers to the general content, teachings, items, topics, themes, exercises, why and how relate to the design and layout of the materials, as well as to the classroom methodology, which are based on the pre-existing and therefore well considered rationals. And approach therefore is concerned with the theory of language teaching and learning, as it is a broader term than method. It is the study of the self-evident truth. It is important to know that a single approach may contain many methods in it. When an instructional design is quite explicit at the level of theory of language learning, but can be applied in many ways at the level of objectives. Teachers and learner also learner roles and activities, it is usually referred to as an approach. Communicative language teaching is generally regarded as an approach because the principles underlying it can be applied in many different ways. Teachers adopting an approach have considerably flexible in how they apply the principles to their own context. An approach is a set of correlative assumptions dealing with the nature of language teaching and learning related with the subject matter to be taught. Thus, approach is how a teacher is going to tackle his or her student gaining the knowledge. It is a general guideline on ways of performing a work. It does not identify all the steps involved. Instead, in ditches the direction to proceed in or ways of handling some major or marathon tasks. So as far as importance of approach is concerned, it aids the teacher in selection of not only methods to realize the teaching doctrine, but also in choosing useful learners experience in a conducive environment through the careful choice of learning material, resources and assessment. In ELT, English language teaching or English language teaching field, there are two main approaches usually considered by the teachers and linguists, and they are behaviorist and mentalist or cognitive approaches. According to a behaviorist approach, the learner can learn through stimulus, response, and reinforcement process of habitual formation, or through error and rectification trial process. However, according to the mentalist approach, the learner learns through exposure to the environment and a natural factor of inborn lead or language acquisition's brain device. Through it, a learner formulates and reformulates his own hypothesis and learn the language progressively. Method. A method is a practical implementation of an approach in the language teaching. As we discussed earlier, approach is a broad and general theoretical views which deals with what and why of teaching. On the other hand, a method is a specific practical procedural plan of selection and conduction of classroom tasks. In the other words, it deals with how or practical way of teaching. So it is where theoretical aspect of teaching an approach turns into practical mode of method in which choices are made about the actual skills to be taught, and also about the order in which the contents are going to be presented. It happens with an instructional design include a selected level of teaching application in terms of objectives, teachers and learns role and classroom activities. Hence, a method therefore is an inclusion of prescribed objectives, role for teacher and learners, and guidelines for activities. The grammar, translation, audio, lingualism, total physical response and silent methods are a few examples of it. Now, if we look at the grammar translation method, it employs the memorization of various grammar rules and translation of a second language material to the students' native language. Students were able to develop the intellectual capacity to understand the new language through a deductive process of acquiring the rules of the language. The purpose is not to critique this method, but to show how it was derived from the approach that the mind needs to be trained through intellectual exercises to be able to accomplish something. As behaviorist and approaches were mentioned in 1.3, so accordingly there are based respectively audiolingual and communicative methods of teaching. 1.5 procedures are the step-by-step measures to execute a method. These step-by-step measures are called techniques and will be discussed in next. Common procedures for the grammar translation method includes the following. The class reads a text written in the second language. The student translate the passage from the second language to their mother tongue. Student translate new words from the second language to their mother tongue. Student is given a grammar rule and derived from the example. By apply the rule by using the new words, students memorize the vocabulary of the second language. Student memorize grammar rules. Errors made by the students are corrected by providing the right answer. This is the process with the variation that is used when employing the grammar translation method. The next important point is techniques. A technique is a single practical activity that based on a procedure adopted by the teachers according to his or her students' need. Any one of the step of the procedure list above qualifies as a technique. Naturally, various methods employ various techniques. For example, constructivist approach has activity method, for which techniques can be dramatization and role playing. All these aspects of teaching should be in harmony with one another for the purpose of creation consistency. Some other examples of techniques and drills and oral or written exercises. Sentence completion. 1.7 The final conclusion is language teaching involves a theoretical basis in form of approaches that lead to practical implementation. As methods then are broken down into procedure, and procedures are a collection of techniques. Understanding how these concepts interrelate can help a teacher know the reason behind their choice in how they choose to teach efficiently. Either the habit behaviorist approach or hypothesis mentalist approach formation, but a teacher cannot be restricted to use any specific method based on any one of the approaches. Rather, it is teacher's own choices to select the most suitable method or multiple methods. Eclectic approach according to the learner's needs in order to procedure efficient language output among the learners. So summary of the points or important point. The following are the main points of the unit. There are three interlinked concept: approach, method, and techniques in English language teaching. An approach is a set of theoretical ideologies about nature of language acquisition and learning. The practical implementation of the theories in form of procedural ways is known as method. A technique is a set of activities based on approach and methods selected by the teachers for the purpose of maximum proficient output among language learners. Self-assessments. Pardon me. Now, after going through the unit, dear students, attempt these questions to assess your learning rate and pace. Question number 1: define and elaborate the terms approach, methods, and techniques. Provide examples also in your answer. What are the main approaches and methods based on them in English language teaching? Discuss in detail. Are language teaching aware of the concept of approach, methods, and teachings? If so or not, what is the impact on their teaching language in Pakistan? Give illustrative arguments to prove your point of view. So these were the important, dear student. If you can't find or maintain, then you can comment me, and if you complete your assignment and the question, if you create the question, you can mail me, and the mail will be available on at the about of my channel, or I would like to say I would like to share my email with you. PROF, P for Pakistan, PROF MARAZA @gmail.com, without any cap, without any space or hyphen. PROF MARAZA, Professor MA-Raza @gmail.com. So you can send me your questions for regular checking and so on. For any suggested readings, Krashen SD and Tracy DT 1983, The Natural Approaches Language Acquisition in the Classroom, Howard CA California, CA Canada, Alumni Press, and Negaraj G 1995, Approaches and Methods of Teaching English, Orient Longman Delhi, and Prabhu NS 1987, Second Language Pedagogy, Oxford University Press. So the next important topic we will definitely discuss, and it particularly, and the next topic is that role of a teacher in a classroom. So that is my next lecture. We will be right back with you with the new topic, with the new lecture. So let me go now, and if you want the same lecture in Urdu summary, then subscribe Murshid Urdu Professor MA-Raza, and subscribe and hit the bell icon. Let me go now and say with me, do something more for humanity, do something more for knowledge and practices. Have a good day.